Welcome back to Ghost Powered Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we talk about Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
You don't really know much about Halloween. Halloween, the barriers will be down between the real and the unreal. And the dead might be looking in.
And real quick, before we get to this review, if you could hit that like button, because that helps this channel out so much. So this week we move on to Chapter 3 of the Halloween series, and that would be Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And if you've missed the first 2 episodes of our Halloween review series, the link to the playlist is right up here. So like I've always said about Halloween 3, if it was called Season of the Witch instead of Halloween 3, I think it would get so much more love. But just that one little thing made so many people go into this just thinking they were going to see another Halloween Michael Myers slasher kind of movie. And what they got was a completely different theme. So I do understand why it gets a lot of hate. But it's time to let it go, guys. Like, this is an old movie. The ship has sailed. This is the black sheep of the Halloween family. And I think it's time for everyone to kind of give this another look and give it another chance.
Hey!
And so with that being said, let's get more into the details of this bastard child of the Halloween family. So right away, one of the things that really hits me is this overarching theme of horror meets technology and how ahead of its time this movie was in that regard. Because you see a lot of stuff now about the man watching you with cameras and that whole scary idea of having no privacy and all of that, right? But this movie was way before any of that. Cameras were not a commonplace thing by any means when this movie came out, and yet this leans into that. And not just cameras, but technology, AI, like all those technological terrifying ideas. And in their early infancy stages, basically, this movie was talking about that. And I find that to be extremely interesting and very compelling. I really appreciate how quickly they set up the mask as something on the surface that seems benign, and yet as you dig in, you start to realize the terror that is there in these masks. And in that same way, they set up the theme song, which is just a reworded version of London Bridge is Falling Down. But they start to slowly allow you, with the jingle and the commercial, to see the terror. I mean, that these are not these fun, kid-friendly type of things, but instead just absolutely terrifying. And as far as the song itself goes, by the end of this movie, you are so driven crazy, you want to rip your hair out. And I don't even have any hair, and I still wanted to rip my hair out because of how driven nuts I was by that damn song.
This commercial never stops.
But I still love it in a strange, I don't know, masochistic way. But I do really enjoy the score in this film. It might be my favorite John Carpenter score, although I'm not saying it's his best work, but it's the one I probably have the most fun with. It's just full of that 80s horror synth vibe and energy that I just think is awesome. This film has that same creepy lighting and dark shadows, like very contrasted shadows, in a lot of the same way you see in the first 2 Halloweens. But that's probably the only comparisons you can really make between this movie and the first 2 Halloweens. So there isn't a ton of set design because the real star of this film is really this small town. And it's actually a real place. It's not a backlot studio type of thing. It's an actual real town in Northern California. But I do enjoy the set that there is, especially this giant Stonehenge replica. And I also got to give a lot of love to the Dawn Post design mask. Because as unassuming as they are on the surface, like I said, as you dig into this movie, these masks become absolutely horrifying. And like especially in my favorite scene where they kill a fucking kid. It's just fucking savage. I'm not saying that it's okay or you should go kill kids. This is a movie, okay? So don't come at me. And I got a little too hyper there. Calm down. Oh, breathe. Peaceful thoughts. The thoughts of killing kids slowly going away. So on to some of the stuff about the script. The characters in this, to me, are much more interesting than the characters from Halloween 2 for sure, and right up there, in my opinion, with Halloween, the original. I'm not saying that they're the best written or anything like that ever, but as far as these three movies go, I think the characters in Halloween 3 are on par with the original. To be honest, this is where I first fell in love with the acting of Tom Atkins. Like, he is just fucking so interesting and so much fun to watch in this movie. He just has this fun, suave, arrogant, dirtbag kind of over-the-top quality, like a womanizing Tom Selleck or something. Oh, and don't forget, you get the treat of Tom Atkins' man ass. That's right, Tom Atkins, ladies. Man ass all up in it. Another thing that just cracks me up about his character is he's just this absolute fucking unapologetic chauvinist. I mean, just totally sexualizes all the women, and yet this movie, and I guess maybe the era and time, just normalizes that. Like, that's not a big deal. This is normal. And he just smacks this fucking nurse's ass, and she just laughed like, oh, shucks. I'm like, really, dude? Like, the dude just smacked your ass. Have a little self-respect, ladies of the 80s. And on to one of my favorite things about this movie is the kills. They're so brutal and unique in this movie. They're not necessarily super gory, but they're just all very uniquely done. They're very tech-oriented, like I was talking about. This movie is definitely horror meets tech. And there's these killer robots sort of thing that is killing everybody, or is being killed. It's just this real mix of sci-fi horror that just has these really unique kills because of how those things are blended together. So the town seems innocent at first. Like I was talking about with the mask and the theme song, they do the same type of thing with the town. And as the sun starts to go down, you start to realize this cute, quaint little town is actually terrifying and gets more and more scary as it gets dark and as you start to uncover what's really going on here. And this is where you start to see more of these robots and just realize how brutal and vicious and just scary these fucking robots are. Them with the main villain, Colonel Cochran. You idiot. Blah, blah, blah. Them, as well as the main villain, Colonel Cochran. I think I said that right. It's a hard fucking name, okay? Leave me alone. You start to really see just how different these villains are. They have just a very unique feeling about them than probably any other villains that I can think of. But back to the kills, some of the kills are just so fucking savage. Like the kill with the woman in the room when she gets the little button and it basically just turns her face into like a butthole or some shit. Just, I mean, it's brutal, man. And another funny thing that I think you'll appreciate, Tom Atkins' real wife, yeah, that's her. The lady in the other room who's just chilling, reading a book, about to get killed, right? Just chilling there, right? Well, he's in the other room sucking the titties of this young hottie. That is some awkward shit right there, guys. When I found that out, I was like, ooh. Imagine sitting there with your wife and reading over that script. Okay, so you're going to be doing what? Oh, you're going to be reading a book. All right, cool. Babe, what are you going to do? Oh, just suck a tit. Well, you're what? You're doing what? I'm just sucking on this hot chick's little titties. What are you doing? I mean, seriously, that would be so uncomfortable. That's some professional shit right there, guys. Seriously. So this film, like I mentioned, is really not a slasher. It's not a Michael movie. It's a very different animal than the first two Halloweens. This is a sci-fi, horror, mystery, thriller type of situation. The whole movie is really a whodunit kind of film, trying to get to the bottom of what Colonel Cochran is and what this toy factory is really doing, and if there's evil here and what the evil is and that whole kind of thing. It's a mystery to figure that out. It's not a running from a guy with a knife. It's just, like I said, a very different animal. But I do understand why this movie does get a lot of hate from people, because it is just so different. It's just a weird, slow burn, 80s camp, full of cheese, strange as fuck kind of movie, and I definitely get why it's not for everyone. And that's okay. You don't have to love this, but I really do. This really is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm not going to argue and say that it is the best made movie, the best scripted movie, best directed, best looking, or any of that. But for me, when you put it all together, it's fun, it's creepy enough, it looks cool enough, it's just got enough of the things together to make me just have an absolute blast with it. And it's definitely its own thing, for better or worse. So like I said in the beginning of this video, not telling you you need to like it or appreciate it or any of that, but I hope that I made maybe a little case for you to give it a rewatch, a revisit, a check it out again, give it a second fucking chance, and maybe come out having a little more appreciation for it. If not, whatever, did my best. I tried, okay? We can't all love the same thing, horror family. And the fact that you guys are always trying to argue and yell that everybody's wrong, like, come on, guys. We don't have to all agree to still appreciate each other. Appreciate each other now, or I'll come in there and kick your ass. And that is a wrap. That's going to do it for me today. Please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this at least 2 times every week. And I also want to give a massive, enormous, huge, gigantic thank you to my patrons, because your support seriously means so much to me. And if you would like to find out more about becoming a patron, the link is down in the description. And like always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. I will see you guys next time.
The world's going to change tonight, Doctor. Happy Halloween. Stop it!
Halloween 3. Season of the Witch, the night no one comes home.